When a chant rang out across the Glastonbury stage, few realised just how far the fallout would reach. But within hours, the backlash exploded. MPs intervened, police were called in, and comparisons to one of the most controversial criminal cases in recent years started flooding in. Now, the public is asking one simple question. If Lucy Connolly was jailed, why not him? This isn't just a festival scandal, it's a test of the justice system itself. Let's break it down, but first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. We have released our new 0% Liberal t-shirts. You can find them at britishstand.com or go to the link in the description. Let's get back into today's video. Big developments are unfolding following the uproar at this year's Glastonbury Festival, where rapper Bobby Violence sparked national outrage with chants that many are calling blatant incitement. Now, multiple MPs have stepped in, calling for immediate police action and comparing the incident directly to the now infamous Lucy Connolly case. Bobby Violence, whose real name is Pascal Robinson Foster, shouted "Death to the IDF" repeatedly during his Glastonbury performance. It was broadcast live by the BBC, unedited. The lyrics weren't coded, symbolic, or ambiguous. This was a direct call that many believe falls under incitement and hate speech. In the hours since, the political backlash has only intensified. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has publicly demanded that Robinson Foster be arrested and prosecuted without delay. In his statement, Philp warned that failure to act would reinforce the belief that Britain is now operating under a two-tier justice system, one that punishes ordinary citizens but lets others walk free based on ideology or political favour. Philp pointed directly at Sir Keir Starmer and the government's Attorney General, warning that credibility is on the line. Reform UK's Deputy Leader Richard Tice echoed the call, going further by comparing this case to that of Lucy Connolly, a woman sentenced to 31 months in prison for a social media post that the court ruled as inciting racial hatred following the brutal Southport murders committed by Axel Ruder-Kubener. Tice didn't hold back. He said what Robinson Foster did was, in his words, far worse than what Lucy Connolly did. He described the chant as clearly anti-Semitic and labelled it an incitement to violence. This has now become a test of consistency, because if Connolly was in prison for a social media post, how is it that Bobby Violence can lead a Glastonbury crowd in a violent chant, broadcast across the country, without immediate legal consequences? Police are now investigating. Avon and Somerset Police confirmed they are reviewing video footage from the performance to determine if a criminal offence has been committed. But critics are questioning the delay, arguing that if the situation were reversed, if the lyrics had targeted a different group or come from a politically unfavoured figure, arrests would already have been made. Meanwhile, Glastonbury organisers themselves have condemned the act. Emily Evis, one of the festival's leads, admitted that the words very much crossed a line. She reiterated that there is no place at Glastonbury for anti-Semitism, hate speech, or incitement to violence. But perhaps the most baffling element came from Bobby Violence's own response. On Instagram, the duo posted a lengthy justification, not just defending the chant, but attempting to reframe it as part of a broader message about children, opinions, and global awareness. I said what I said, the statement begins, before launching into a story about listening to his daughter voice concerns over school dinners and how that inspired a belief in teaching children to speak up. While some tried to interpret the post as reflective or introspective, others saw it as a weak deflection, trying to pivot from a direct chant for violence into a vague conversation about free expression and social change. Many questioned how that personal anecdote had any connection to chanting for the death of a nation's military. And then there's the role of the BBC, now under fierce criticism for airing the performance. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer called it appalling hate speech and said the broadcaster urgently needs to explain how this was allowed to happen on a publicly funded platform. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick didn't hold back either. He pointed out that producers at the BBC would likely have known the kind of performance Bob Violence was going to deliver. He used the moment to call out what he described as the inbuilt liberal bias within the BBC's editorial ranks. The BBC responded with a short statement admitting that some of the comments made during the set were deeply offensive. They claimed a warning was issued during the livestream and clarified that the performance would not be available on demand. But that hasn't satisfied critics, many of whom see this as yet another example of selective outrage and selective enforcement. All of this points to a much deeper issue, one that goes beyond a single performance. At the heart of this scandal is the question, is the law applied equally to everyone in Britain, or are certain people and groups given more leeway based on who they are or what they stand for? The Lucy Connolly case was used as a high-profile example of the state cracking down on what it calls dangerous speech. That same principle must now be tested again, this time on a Glastonbury stage, in front of thousands, and broadcast to the nation. If the system is to be seen as fair, there can't be one rule for some and a different one for others. The pressure is now on Avon and Somerset Police, and on Starmer's government to act decisively. Because if they don't, the growing belief that Britain has a two-tier justice system won't just be speculation, it will be proven true. In other news, not a day goes by without another woke story. Get your head around this one. An employment tribunal judge has declared that calling a white middle-aged woman Karen is borderline racist, sexist, and ageist in a ruling on a workplace discrimination case. Judge George Elliott made the remarks while dismissing claims brought by Sylvia Constance, a 74-year-old black support worker who accused mental health charity MenCap of racial and age discrimination. The term Karen, which gained popularity during the pandemic, typically describes middle-aged white women who angrily confront those they perceive as beneath them socially. The judge noted the term was pejorative, as it suggests someone is excessively and unreasonably demanding. The expression originated as an internet meme and has become associated with excessive Facebook usage, anti-vaccination views, and blonde bob haircuts. Constance, who described herself as Black British, worked at a MenCap residential home in Harpenden, Hertfordshire, supporting adults with learning disabilities from 2016. Tensions arose when Claire Wilson became manager in 2021, with the tribunal hearing Wilson faced open hostility from Constance, who sighed at her and gave one-word responses. Wilson suspended Constance in 2021 over allegations of bullying residents and staff. A week later, Constance filed a grievance. The grievance, written by Constance's friend Christine Yates, accused female managers of acting like the stereotypical Karen by having weaponized their privilege and more powerful position against Constance. There is also something very sordid about the way in which white female management have facilitated racism, a misogynistic, racist view of the black complainant, the grievance said. It alleged that there was clearly a hostile environment for black staff at the home, which made it unsafe for Constance to return to face further victimization. The grievance also alleged there was clearly a hostile environment for black staff at the home, making it unsafe for Constance to return to face further victimization. MenCap dropped the disciplinary process in 2022 and took no action against Constance, who then went on sick leave and filed another grievance. Managers repeatedly attempted to arrange meetings to discuss the grievance, but Constance refused to attend. A meeting was held in her absence and the grievance was rejected. After failing to return to work for a year, Constance was dismissed due to an irrevocable breakdown in the relationship with her bosses. Judge Elliott dismissed all claims of unfair dismissal, race and age discrimination and victimization, stating there was no suggestion that any of the actions of Claire Wilson were prompted by a racist sentiment. Add your thoughts in the comments below. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.